Okay, here comes the lover's steak. This is one of my favorite things to cook for my sweet wife. So I've got a skillet here. We've got it preheated. I've been preheating it for about an hour or so, just on number 3, not very hot. And look at what I found at Walmart. Look at this. Angus Premium Choice Beef. Regular price on this thing was going to be $18.25. It is normally $15 a pound, and they knock that thing down to 12 bucks. This steak is weighing in at 1.18, which I'll call that a 1.2 pound steak. Let's have a look at it. Cowboy ribeye steak, bone in. You're paying some extra prices for that bone, but let's have a look at this. That's a pizza pan right there. I've been soaking that with some paper towel. Let's take a look at this. Ooh-wee, look at that now. That's a beautiful steak. It's got some marble in it. It's got that nice bone, kind of like you'd have on a T-bone. But that is a Cowboy. I don't even know that there is such a thing. A Cowboy ribeye. Cowboy ribeye. So what does it need? It needs some delicious salt and pepper. So here we go with the pepper. He doesn't like too much pepper, but we're going to give it a little bit of pepper, especially down that little flat fat side right there, a little bit on that outer skirt, and we'll stop with that. And then we're going to turn it over. That paper towel is going to try to stick the whole way, so we're going to get it out of the picture. Use that pizza right there, pizza pan. It's good and clean. Might have a few little dots on it, but that's okay. A little touch of pepper here and there. Now what we got? This is a lover's steak, a Cowboy ribeye bone in. Now she likes her some salt, so we're going to hit that pretty good. Since I'm videoing this, I got to be careful because you can get out of focus on stuff, not pay attention to what you're doing, and get it overdone. So we get just a nice touch of salt. Flip that over on the old pizza pan. I'm going to salt that bone good, a little strip of fat there. Put a little salt there. That pan is good and hot. I'm going to salt that edge. We'll tilt it up on its edge. Now, I'm going to do what somebody on YouTube told me to do. They kind of fussed at me. I think they were a professional chef or something of that nature. They said, don't mess with that thing too much. You're messing with it too much. And I guess I probably was, because I was talking about it and had a tool in my hand. I thought, well, while I'm talking about it, I might as well do something with it. So we're going to put just a touch of this avocado oil. That's my favorite to treat skillets, and you can see that skillet's good and hot. I mean, it is nice and hot. We're even going to get it hotter. We're going to serve it in this. So I've cleaned this skillet very well, scrubbed it down. I didn't use any soap on it, just kept scrubbing it down, heating it up with that. So now we're going to crank this on up. Let's go on up and up there. And here comes the steak. And I'm going to let that round part, we're going to make that fit right into the pan right there. And I'm going to do just exactly what that man said. We're going to let that steak sit and do nothing. Now, my wife likes a rare steak, but we do not want to have any the red juices of bloody stuff running out of it. But rare, you can run them on up to about 115, 120. And if you're going to serve it up on hot iron, you could even take it up and stop shy at 110, but you do have to flip it on both sides and make sure there's no red coming out of it. And at this temperature, you cannot put any butter. Cannot do that yet, because I promise you, I don't have any fancy butter today. It's great value, Brand. But you do not want to put butter in that pan when it's that smoking hot like that. So I'm kind of watching my stopwatch here. My wristwatch, rather. I'm using it as a stopwatch. And I'm going to cook that for a good, solid 3 minutes, because it's a nice, thick steak. That is a Cowboy ribeye bone in for $12. So it's 1.2 pounds at $12. I don't know if I'm smart enough to do the math on that, but if it was 1 pound for $12, that's $12 a pound. But you're actually getting 0.2 extra, so we're coming in right at about 10 bucks a pound, which is a lot better than typical 24, 25, 26, all those other crazy numbers that you see them charging for steak. So I'm pretty happy with that. We got it coming in at $12.04. We saved $6.21. I don't know if it's because it had a little speck of brown on it or something, but That makes no difference at all. You go to a different country, they're going to serve you steak that is browned, that's been seasoned by sitting around and starting to spoil a little bit. They call it aged beef, and it doesn't hurt anything. It's just fine. It still eats just fine and tastes just fine. So that's coming up on 3 minutes, pretty quick. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that burner down a little bit. We're going to knock that on down to 4 so we don't burn the world down. Let's go ahead and turn this over. And I want this to hit a fresh spot on the skillet. It has not been had any cold meat on it. Oh my gosh, look at that. Now I'm doing what the man told me. I think he was a professional. I really do. He was just talking, you know, he wasn't ugly to me on YouTube, but he said, "Sir, you need to put the steak in the pan and leave it alone." So, although you're sitting here watching a steak cook, man, that's a pretty glorious thing in my book. And my wife comes back, she's going to really think that's something. Now, the reason I turned that stove down from 9 or 8 down to 4, cut it in half, is that iron had already saturated with heat. So I've done such a good job of preheating it. And that thing should come out nice. And right at the end, we will crank it down and add that butter to it. Let's see if I can find a large knife. And we'll give her 2 pieces of butter. I'm going to make one of these pieces of butter. It's going to be the swimmer. See if I can cut that left-handed. That'll be a fun chore to do. One will be a left-handed swimming piece of butter, and the other piece is going to be stacked on top of the steak. So we are not going to add that to it yet because I know what that'll do. Butter just cannot take super high temperature. It's just not going to do it. So now with it like that, let's take a look and see what kind of temperature. Our target temperature that I'm going to use here to start being concerned is 100. That's what we're going to look at. When we start seeing 100, oh boy, look at that. See, we got doggone close already. We got close. Look at that. 140. That's already, now I was down in there a ways. That's probably getting close to the bottom of the pan. We'll get some of this thick over here. There's some 109. There's some 115. Get over here this close to this bone. And there's a 112. So we're getting close. All right, we're going to go ahead. Turn it over. One more time. We've already made the searing and the stripes on it. One more time, and I'm just going to let that cook about 1 minute on that side. And I'm going to turn this stove way down now. We're going to take it on down to number 1. Take it down to number 1. Go down to the first floor. Nothing too radical. That's sitting for its 1 minute. And I think we're getting close. Somebody's probably timing me to the nth degree. They've got a nuclear-powered stopwatch. It's a cesium clock and all that stuff. We're not quite that accurate. One more time here. This time I'm going to kick it around so that edge touches. We do not want her to have an edge that don't have some crispness to the fat. Now, this is me messing with the steak too much. Here I go again. But I'm going to let that edge. I want that edge right there, that soft fat, touch that iron and get hot. So now, at this point, I feel fairly safe that we can put some butter, and that'll start dropping some temperature. I don't think she wants the paper on there. Got the butter off of it. That's going to be the butter roundabout butter. I'll call this the swimming butter. I'm trying not to touch the steak. I know that guy's going to fuss at me, so I'm trying not to. See, I'm trying to behave myself. Difficult for me to do. I'm telling you, when something's there, I just start fiddling with it. I'm worse than a little kid when it comes to that stuff. So there we go. Now that side's seared. I am not going to flip that again. I'm going to show respect to the senior chef that told me that. And here's what we're going to do, because I know her. She loves butter. We are carnivore people, and butter is our fuel. So watch what she gets right there. A beautiful piece of butter. I'm not even going to put a speck of pepper on it. We're going to turn the burner all the way off. Look at that going to off, off, off. She went to the neighbors to deliver something to them. So now I'm going to get my little oven mitt. And she doesn't even know that this thing is cooking. Won't that be wonderful? And I'm going to take it just like that, stick it right into the oven. We're going to hide it in the oven where nobody can find it. With it in there, it'll be safe, and it will finish off in the oven. When she comes in, I'll say, hey, honey, guess what? I got you a lover's steak. Let's see if I can get some smooches out of that thing. So, over and out for now. Thank you for watching.